Okay, today we celebrate a late anniversary, but a special one. First anniversary, 1 whole year of owning this absolute fine specimen of the Indesit brand. Let's talk more about that and learn about her history and backstory. And you're watching Florence Ballard A3060 on film. Okay guys, so yes, it's that time again. Basically, it's been over a year, excuse the police car, because it's towards the end of July now, so we are a month late doing this. Been hectic life over in Manchester with work and everything, but anyway, so this machine, for those who are very new to the channel and have not been on since last year, this machine is a 1990s, 1993 to be specific. I can't remember if I figured out the month. I think it is on the back, but 1993 this machine's from. She's an Indesit model W1196W Ecosense Amiga 1100, but the model number on the fascia of these old Indesits is actually shortened. The full model number is WN1196WG, but they only just go by that, and they have done this since pretty much the whole design of this range. This design goes back to the 80s with like the 091s, the 092s, 2091s, etc. The I think the L6s before that, but then you got like the Series 2000 models, which Chris has demonstrated a very nice example of. So she's an 1100 RPM machine. This range was part of their Ecosense models, which continued all the way up to the early 2000s. I think roughly around 2001 was when they stopped, because they redesigned these with the range that replaced this was the one with the door handle at the 45-degree angle, and then they went to doing one with the newer Indesit logo that we have today, but in the old style. So these machines, I love the lid design. In fact, this is very reminiscent of another brand that reused this design. We'll talk about that in a bit. So this machine, yes, is the Ecosense models, meaning it's one of the eco-friendly models, which introduces like half load, lower water levels, and stuff like that. But the previous range to this were the ones with the door on this side, and your drawer was this side and your dial was there, like the 850W, the 1060W, etc. There's been plenty of examples of those filmed on YouTube, and those ones were a lot more crazier with their spins. They actually spin up very, very fast, but like to a slow speed. So like they'll start off at 400 RPM, but they'll accelerate like kind of like a 9.5 series. It's very cool to watch. I did film an 825W, which was owned by Matt and Elliot. And that one had a motor that sounded very much like a 9.5, like a GEC motor, but yeah. So yeah, this one's slightly yellowed from age. It happens to all these kind of machines. I don't think I've ever seen a purely white one, apart from, the one that the Wash House and Optima 232 own. But yeah, so I've had this machine. I picked this machine up 21st of June last year. It was absolutely scorching on that day, and that's the longest day of the year. I picked her up from Aldershot in Surrey, which is just south of Heathrow Airport on the M25, so basically heading towards like sort of Thorpe Park in a way, that sort of area. I remember sitting on the back of the M25. I remember sitting on the M25 with her, absolutely scorching. So she's got like the squarish door design, is what we call it. They did these in brown, but not the Ecosense models. There was a range before this that was non-Ecosense, so the Ecosense models, you had round door ones with the backwards fascia to it, and so the left-hand drive ones, and the square door ones, so the square door ones spin anti-clockwise, the reverse ones spin clockwise. It's kind of, I think it's to do with the way the drawer is. In other words, it doesn't send the water flying up through the drawer in a way, so it spins against the drawer rather than shooting the water up. It's meant to be something like that, but they changed the programming for these models. So basically, the previous range was the 1063W you had. It was one of those in Manchester when I first moved up here. 1000 RPM, 1263W, and I don't think there was an 1100 version. But anyway, this range consisted of, so you had the round door ones, you had a 1062W, which has been filmed by Shakira Lover Forever, so Elliot and Matt have filmed one, and Reese has filmed one that popped up in London. I was considering it, but I just didn't know if I wanted a round door one. I kind of wish I had gone for it, but still, anyway, I do prefer these ones. The round door ones as well, the fascia doesn't have a curve, it's just flat, so it sticks out more, but that's this design for this one. And then you had, there was a 1096W, no, that was the Super Spin 1000, that wasn't an Ecosense model though. And then of course, starting with this range, you had one, so this is, I think, the baseline model, 1069W is the Super Spin 1000. 1096W was an Ecosense model, but I think it was a round door model. I don't think it was a... so you got this one, which is the 1196W, which is the 1100 version. Then there was a version above, which is the real one I wanted. But I didn't mind having this one, which was the 1296W. That's just all it is just this with 1200 RPM. So that's been filmed by a couple of collectors again. Optima has had one, and I think George had one, I Love Mila one. He had a 1296W, and that's the first time I watched one. But they do use a lot of water for being eco, unless you select the Ecosense. Ecosense is basically half load on this. It's just a fancy name for that. So I rescued her because I wanted something of Indesit from the vintage range. I would love a Prestige line model from the 80s, and there was one in Durham, but I was still down in London at the time, and I just couldn't think to drive all that way up to get it. Probably now I wouldn't mind so much. But when I was talking about this design, so on these, the lid comes off from the front. Now, High Air have reused this design and modified its design. Now, when I got this machine, I mentioned that there's a brand, when I was little, some of our family friends had moved into a house, and there's a brand called, and people can pick me up if I pronounce it wrong, but I've just gotten into the habit of calling it this for so long, I can't snap out of it. I pronounce it as Baumatic, but I know it's Baumatic. They just rebadged machines. They've rebadged Maloney, I think they've rebadged Beko, I think they've rebadged everything pretty much that you can think of in a way. And they rebadged these. But what they did, so High Air did a washer dryer out in America. It's the XQG 50-11, and Thor also rebranded it as the Quiet Line WD9900A, the one that uses the Hotpoint model number. The door is more inset into the frame, and rather than a flat cabinet, you've got a kick strip at the bottom with a filter. Furthermore, the fascia doesn't actually curve, it sits in the cabinet, and it's the fascia and this curved bit here are all one, so the lid actually comes off halfway at the back. That's what I remember the WN1196. So that Baumatic one is effectively an Indesit 1063W with 3 dials, so a variable spin and variable temp. Quite a fascinating design. I only ever saw one pop up, and I was never able to get it because I was not collecting at the time. It was just before I got the 9530, and it was in bloody Thornton Heath in South London. One popped up now, I'd happily go and get it. That's why I like these so much. They kind of remind me of that childhood machine. Especially the pumps, although I think the High Air ones use a slightly different pump. They were more aggressive. Oh, they had a filter as well. A big square filter here, rather than these don't have any filters apart from going to the back. These also have 2 pressure switches, which I didn't know. This is also enamel tub, a massive concrete weight on top, and the shock absorbers are actually friction dampers. So they're like 2 copper wires that are like that, and there's 2 rubber pads between them, and that holds the drum. So it's very stiff suspension, but when they start to go down, those things will squeak. However, they can't really wear down as much, that's one thing. The only problem I have is, if you can probably see it here, is the glass has become deeply scratched, and this is only when I gave her a maintenance wash when I first got her. I don't know whether the citric acid I used or what it was has cut into the glass, but I just cannot get rid of that, so I'd have to try and source a replacement door bolt at some point, but yeah, it's alright. The only problem I do get, as you've heard, is the door seal rubs on the drum rim sometimes. I have to try and refit it or whatever, but these are wraparound cabinets, so you can't remove the cabinets. You undo the tub by a clasp at the back. This is before Indesit went to all their welded and sealed tub rubbish, which is the only thing that puts me off getting an Evolution or an Ariston Margarita. Oh yeah, Ariston Margaritas at the time were exact copies of this. So Ariston copied Indesit, as far as I know. I think that's how it went. Ariston sort of were the... I think Ariston were the cheaper version of Indesit in a way. Or something like that. I can't remember how it went, what the differences was. So this would have been like the Margarita or the enhanced models. 1200 was the highest they did in these. But the later Ecosense models, with the round door, they actually did a 1400 version that I'd love to find. But it's very, very rare. Probably because it killed the bearing so easy, I don't know. So she is a 5, I think we're 5 kilo on this one. Got the old type drum, but you'll hear this. So that's the seal rubbing on there, but as you'll see, very stiff suspension. They have balance sensors, these ones do. In fact, this is where the Indesit style balancing started from, where it's thrown to distribute. These act like LGs when they detect an unbalance. There's physically a level these will not go above, and I can't remember if I think I've had this abort a spin, but actually just constantly trying to balance. The machine, even if you click the dial to the very last burst of 1100, the machine will refuse to go into spin unless it's balanced. So I reckon it's something more physical in the timer that does it. But yeah, good rinsing on these and good spins. They do burst spins rather than one straight burst. But the motors on these are not as whiny as the newer ones, because these are not CE-set motors, they are Indisco motors, so Indesit company motors. So less whiny. I will be due to check the carbon brushes on her at some point, because she's been running a lot of loads. She is named Astrid. I did originally name her after a friend of mine called Charlotte Poppy, but because that person doesn't want to use that name, I thought respectfully I won't keep her with this name. I don't really feel there's luck in naming your machines after someone you kind of know in a way. I feel like it's... I'm not saying it's cursed, but I prefer another reason. So she's named Astrid because... Well, Astrid's quite an unusual name, but she's named after the character played by General Ortega, of course, in Beetlejuice 2024. So that's why I named her that. Astrid, she's kind of got that sort of... The machine's a very cute looking machine, they're very sweet, but my god, these machines can be feisty and they do have a lot of power. They don't wimp out with subslots either, really. I'm going to see that because I'm going to do a full load of towels today, just like we did. So I'm going to run program 2, white cotton 90. I'm not going to do a pre-wash because we don't need to do that. It'll take far too long. And we just did the pre-wash cycle, so I'm just going to try and do one boil wash. But yeah. I'm going to run it, and she takes Ariel, so I've got brand new box of Ariel. I do have some Ariel tablets, but respectfully, I want the Bosch to be the first one that uses that when she comes back into service. So yeah, we have up to 18 programs, including the options. So on and off, as the light comes on, you can see that. Let's see. So the progress lights here are not progress indicator lights. It just says on off. It says on here, hot filling, so you know when the machine's got the hot solenoid engaged. Emptying for draining, heating, and then door lock. So it's not like wash, rinse, final spin and everything. They did do a washer dryer version of this, not the Ecosense one, but there was... so we got the 966W, which Service 79's had, and that's the 900 version. Then there was a 10... I think it was a 1... No, what was it? I don't know what the model number was. It was like 2179, so the 2s were the washer dryers, I think, after that, which was an 1100. There was a 2296XW, which kind of was like this, but it came with the symbols on the drawer rather than, I think it was an export model. But yeah, I would have loved to have had that. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's get washing in Astrid and let her show us some sense into what she does. So yes, as you can see, we got a bit mad with that load, including a feather duster thing in there. So I'm going to put a colour run sheet in. You do need that. I'm going to throw in some scent boosters, Floral Magnolia. Thing is, once the machine hits hot water, hot water hits the machine, whichever happens first, no match, the seal starts to relax. So I think 5 kilo, but you can get quite a lot in these machines. The door does look tiny. Who is it I know has got another one of these? Exact same model. Might be Josh. I think he's got one. There you go. That is practically a full load, but she'll deal with that. There's still a tiny bit of room there, but I'm not going to stuff anything more. So, you can see the light shining through. So I've got the new area where you pop down the top to open it. I got it for free, basically, because I paid it with club card points. Right, so big load, we're going to get 2 big scoops. And Lenore Spring Awakening. And what I'm going to do, because it's such a big load, we're not going to dry it in the WD-64, we're going to take it down to the Revolution laundry and dry it there. So from the first column, number 2, white cotton 90. I don't know if I'm going to select any options. So what we do, so you see the pointer at the end. I like that because you got this and you got that little pointer there. Again, that's what with the Baumatic one, it fascinated me. Very solid dial, so you got to make sure it actually clicks into place. There's no options to go, so see, so it lights up hot filling and the door's locked. Okay, happy first anniversary to Astrid. We've also got the what else serves an anniversary share? The Creeder gets first anniversary in November. But we I think we fill hot and cold is what we actually fill. So you'll soon see it come off into the drum. Better. We'll do plenty of top-up fills on this one, I'll tell you that. This is when Indesit were good. You know, you were proud to have an Indesit during this time. But yeah, when I had her in London, she was basically my daily driver. The wash cycles can take a little long, to be fair, but once we start rinsing and spinning, it's all fine. It's like we take ages to fill. Yeah. I think where's all the water going? I think I can see the water coming up. It's like we fill for ages and you can't even see the water coming in. Yeah. Have a look at the hoses. I want to see a little bit kinks or something. A lot of water's going in, but
start now. I find it very airy system. Ah, God, that valve is so hot. I don't know how long that's taken, guys. Oh, there we are. Must be getting absorbed by most of the load, maybe. So we'll do like half a tumble and then we'll absorb everything, so that will be... Awesome doing this. We're immediately heating now, so you see heating's lit up. And there it is, roaring into action. So short tumbles for heating as we do. I think they're 2000, is it 200 watt heater I think? I can't remember what these are again. I just want to catch how loud the heat is roaring. I think that beats how loud the hot point heaters are. See, the water level's gone just below the seal there. Right, we've reached temperature. Let's see what we got to. We literally just finished. So we're about... That'll tumble quickly. That mixes in the water. So about 83. So we're going to look about 85 maybe on that. Not bad, considering she's a 9. Instead of making range, they just warmed over the 1997. It's a shame because I'd have loved to have seen WMA waffle bars. Okay, we are on to the cool down shotguns now. But I'm spoiling you. Yes, John, the washout, I did steal your Indesit. But yours turned a little bit yellow, didn't it? Cheeky. Must be from all what you're washing. Well, it would make sense if I stole John's one, because maybe the scratches are where he's washing his knickers in there. He's going to slap me for that. I don't think he watches this. There you are, look, she's drunk all the water. Oh, what a surprise we've thrown. Oh, that's still very hot. Yeah, nice long tumbles. We like that. We're draining. These kind of washes definitely help clean out the sink. So after this, she'll go back into storage. I don't know who I'll bring out next. I know the AEG's due out, Pippa, but it's a hassle bringing her out for one washer. She's so big in a way. In a way, I do miss having machine gun in the worktop. I just do this because it's in case like they throw a wally on an unbalanced spin or something and the dishwasher needs to stay plumbed in. If I had a tabletop dishwasher, it wouldn't be a problem. But it's hard finding a vintage one, so. Okay, first rinse. Of course, deep level on these. No, we don't spin after the main wash or the first rinse. A little bit Hoover Electron style like that. I think the older ones spun after the main wash, after the first rinse. I don't know about these ones, don't know. I can understand not till after the first rinse, but I can't understand. Oh, Maloney's also didn't spin after the early 90s ones didn't spin after the first rinse either. But they did like 5 rinses. But she only does 3 rinses, which I get the fact that we do deep level rinses, but something like towels, you'll see that the sudstocks will be a lot. I like how 5 is called extra rinsing as well, and then fabric condit for 6, and then 7 is extra spin. And they carried that over throughout the ranges. Astrid Dietz. She's my favourite character. Okay, drain, no spin. I think I've mentioned it before, this machine has a wider drain hose than standard. So this has like the Creeder style drain hose and like the Hoover A36 style width. Because that's why these got empty very quick. I still don't understand why the intermediate spins though. I don't understand why the first intermediate spin is I don't understand why the first intermediate spin is short distribute but the rest are long. It makes no sense. I think she's going to she is the one machine that handles a lot of towel washes very well. I've rarely had the machine get too out of balance. But she does love to shimmy around though. The annoying thing is this that annoys me, the bloody water on the door seal. The Maloney service is the same as that as well. They're very vintage sounding motors on these though, I do love it. Right, let's get the last of the filling. Right, here we go. I must get collecting more vacuum cleaners. I feel like I've got to focus on that. Now I remember a video for 1296W doing one tumble and going straight in, two tumbles and going straight into spin, like distribute. The rinses aren't too long in these though. They're about 3 or 4 minutes. This is what you kind of need. I better position the camera. Oh, sorry about that. I'm stupid. I've got a bloody big chair here. Alright, first thing to me to spin, and a massive freight train just went past. Here we go. Oh, drum's bouncing a bit there, but never know. That's how quick we empty. Let me move the light around, because I want you guys to see in properly. There you go. So you see, it's a short distribute we do it. Oh, we distribute. The towel, the bar sheet's refusing to stay around the side. You see how quickly it's getting to spin. Make your mind up. Clears soft off very quickly, you see. 600 RPM. All comes out. But it's good because we do a long duration at 600 and it allows, I mean 600 is fast at 500 or something, but it would be better if they did like 800 on the intermediates. Then again, the original ones only did 400. spin film. Love that sound. Okay, second rinse. There we go. Then another spin, and the final rinse. Love that satisfying B-bevel rinse. Alright, second and final intermediate spin. I might run these through the Ariston Roman Colson spin drive. Look, hang on, that unbalanced. That's what I was going to... It can't make up its mind, that bar sheet that wants to distribute properly. I think drying around, see there are any places open to dry these, because I'm going to try and take that. Too much to dry on the WD-64. See, that little bit of water there is what annoys me with this. The only thing that... along the distribute. There we go. Can't make up its mind what to do. Here we go. A bit unbalanced there. Ooh, it's a bit sudsy there. Come on, we want to see the back of the drum. Back on the final spin. Actually, that's very much how I Love Me Le One's video was. It had like a yellow towel at the back. putting on a show for you guys. I'll run straight up again. Okay. We are on final rinse with the gnaw going in. I'm setting the Colston spin dryer up because that's 3,000 RPM. I'll take up quite a bit of water from it all. Although 1100 in this is good because it holds it so long, like 5 minutes, like 4 or 5 minutes to hold. It's a very quick ramp up. Get that water level. Nice. Very good. Right, final file spin at 1100 RPM. So it's a bit of a white, we're going to have a white background now. give you a longer. Here we go. We can see the back of the drum at least. Well, hey! You can get to the back of the drum. We didn't even make it down to distribution. Okay, so that's a bit better. Smooth. Ready for the rapid acceleration. Because the motor doesn't scream or whine, it like rumbles when you hit 1100, so it's a nice vintage sound, but I'll keep quiet now. Saying about these machines, they have a smaller drum bleed, so the motor speeds up slowly, but and here comes the seal, but the drum speeds up more. That's the seal rubbing on the. All I can hope is it's going to wear through that seal eventually on the rim. Maybe about 1,000.
spin rate now, watch. What I end up doing is running it on a spin cycle for ages. End of cycle, and we're going to get a, hang on, we'll use this, and get a little bit of spillage out there, you go, I always catch that. That's why I think you find a lot of them end up rusting down here. I'll switch that off obviously. Yeah, a bit of blue staining from the conditioner, but that happens. Right, they're all stuck around the side. So, wow. You don't normally get towel stuck, but that's because they don't actually stop and redistribute. It actually spun quite dry, considering the fact we only hit 1100 for about 10 seconds before actually being reduced by the seal rubbing on the thing. But there you go, look at that, it actually has caught some of the... There you go. I know, I'll have to just keep running it. What I do is I keep running it at speed. Basically, it's the inner part of the seal here. I have tried to cut the seal to see what it will do. That's the only thing I can think to do. It's just, yeah. Otherwise, it just makes an awful sound. But anyway, so this is celebrating 1 whole year and a bit more of owning this wonderful specimen of Indesit, Astrid, the Indesit Ecosense Amiga 1100 model WN1196WG from 1993. So it's nice to have a 90s machine in the collection, because even though the Creeder and the WD64 are 90s designs, they don't actually date to the 90s, they date manufacturing to the 2000s. Yeah, so I didn't know anyone who had these machines, but I did see them in brochures, I did see them on automatic washer, and I thought, oh, they remind me of that Baumatic machine that I saw. But I'd nice to track one of those down, but I don't know about it. But yeah, so second from top of the line model back in the day. She does good here. I love her. She gets on with the washing well. She's good for a daily driver, but unless she's going to be put to rest because she has had some hard washes. She's done a full load of dark. She did the 2 loads of bedding, and she's done this. She is done fantastic, and she always gets constant boil washes. So that's why this machine is in good shape. And yep, John's got one. I think everyone who's got one I know, besides Optima, has got the 1196W. It's the most common one you find, although the 1296W has popped up. There was one in Harrow and Wealdstone, and I never went and got it. It was £89 they wanted, but my god, I would have paid that for it. I don't even think they were matching dryers to these. Indesit at the time were using Creeder as their designer dryers, but there have been high-air versions of them that I have seen. But yeah, owned it for 1 year. Next celebration of only time for a year will be the Creeder in November. I think it was like November the 16th or November the 7th, I think it was something like that we got her. But yeah, we'll see. And then January next year will be the Maloney service, and then February the 21st will be Pippa. Yeah, so I'll probably have a few more by then. I would like some more Indesits. Something a lot older actually would be nice. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and don't forget to keep it supreme and go with the flow.